Are we gonna get the game later this year? I don't think so. I actually and why I mentioned about the NDAs, all that kind of stuff. More content for us. Battlefield podcast, BattlefieldOne podcast. That means we're gonna get so much freaking content to talk about the development of this game. It kind of brings me that good old fashioned why this podcast was created in the first place. This podcast back in the day was created to update the community with everything that was happening in CTE. That was the whole sole purpose of BattlefieldOne podcast back in 2015 and 16. That was the whole purpose of this podcast back in the day. So if you're listening to our old archived episodes that I've been posting on Spotify, that was it. It was that to update you about the CTE updates, because there were updates on a regular basis. And if Battlefield Labs is going to be like Battlefield CTE, but better, or whatever the case may be, with constant updates about the game development and everything, well, history repeats itself. BattlefieldOne podcast is basically going to be doing the same thing again, updating what's happening with the game, the developers and everything, and we discuss the changes and we give feedback, all that kind of stuff, and we have a nice, interesting conversations about it. It's fascinating. It's like full circle. I freaking love it. It's just amazing. So I'm excited personally. And all that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's my opinion. I'm really excited for the future of this franchise. I'm excited for this new game, even though I can see some signs there that I have question marks, and but I'm cautiously optimistic. I'm cautiously optimistic. So what's the community's reaction to all of this? All this Battlefield Labs announcement, the playtest, the video, the gameplay, everything. So I've seen a lot of excitement in the Battlefield community from YouTube comments, from Reddit, from Twitter, from Blue Sky, whatever the case may be, every spot I can find where people talk about Battlefield. And I basically got the same feedback from everywhere. So everywhere I went, either public places like Reddit and like your social media accounts or whatever, YouTube's, or private group chats, from your average Joe to big content creators, I gathered the same message being said by everyone. Like every person that I seen and read and every person saying the same thing, literally the same thing. Any self-respecting Battlefield community member is basically saying that same thing. It looks promising, but we've been here before. We were told sweet little lies how a new Battlefield game is a love letter to the fans, or that if we don't like the game, we don't have to buy it and play it. On the right side of history, or brutal expectations of us expecting legacy features like scoreboard or voice chat. There was a lot of quotable, really good quotes by executives and senior leadership people talking about Battlefield, Battlefield 5, Battlefield 2042, Battlefield 1, whatever the case may be. There's loads of quotes from executives and senior leadership people talking about Battlefield that just puts an egg on their face. It's just so bad. So many, we were told sweet little lies and all the damage control whatever about the next Battlefield games or existing Battlefield game. It's there was some moments I remember. There was I can't remember which episode was it, but it was one of the early Battlefield 1 podcast episodes. I think it was I don't know, episode 6 or 7 of this podcast. I can't remember. I think it was prior season 7 of Battlefield 2042. I think it was prior. And I basically was watching the Battlefield podcast that they had up. I think it's still up on Spotify. I was listening to that, and it just became a gaslight session of the developers basically gaslit the community. Well, they're not using the vehicles, the calling vehicles, or to cross the maps, or we kind of have to design. No. And I said on the podcast, no, that's not what it is. We don't use the calling vehicles to go around big maps on purpose. It's because when you try to call in a vehicle, you cannot call in a vehicle because there's already a limit reached for 128 players. That was the problem. It's play your own game. Understand why people are saying that kind of stuff or why people play like that. That's why you can't rely on data to gather feedback, because the data can be skewed to any different opinion. At the end of the day, you just have to launch the game and play with normal plebs like us to understand the problem. So there were moments where the DICE actually gaslit the Battlefield community to think that they're the problem. No, they weren't the problem. Don't get me wrong. Battlefield community can be douchebags and bunch of cunts sometimes. Don't get me wrong. They are. They absolutely are. But you don't bloody gaslight them saying like you played the game wrongly. No, don't do that. So we heard many sweet lies before and all damage control back in the day. So that's why I'm saying the community right now, watching this footage, watching this video, reading this blog about Battlefield Labs, all that kind of stuff, you know, and then hearing investors calls like the game might not come out this year, but but all the excitement we got is beyond our expectations, all that kind of stuff. Like, it's all positive, and people so far enjoyed what they seen in the gameplay. They enjoyed that the soldiers are somewhat realistic. Like, they saw some British soldiers, they saw some Russian soldiers, they saw some, you know, Abrams and everything. Like, the aesthetic was there. The aesthetic is like, chef's kiss, like a Battlefield 3 inspired thing. Everything is Battlefield 3 inspired. It's like, chef's kiss. It's beautiful. You know, it's just Battlefield 3 to modern times. And maybe they will remake some Battlefield 3 maps for this game. Fuck knows. I would love to see that, but we'll see. Nothing wrong with that. So it's a low-key reset for the franchise, and it's really exciting time. But at the same time, we did hear loads of negative stuff coming our way, or just like oh, this game is gonna be amazing, it's gonna be a love letter to the fans, and then the game comes out, it's got absolute dog shit of a game, like probably the worst launch they ever had in their history. So I understand why people are cautious. Me too. I'm like I said, I'm cautiously optimistic about this upcoming game, but I can't pretend and ignore all the history prior to this. You have to prove it to us, you know, as Battlefield Studios, all these studios working on their, on this game. You can talk all you want, but if you don't prove that you actually listen and actually produce the goods, to produce a good game, then your words mean nothing. Actions speak louder, That's all it is. Like, damn, that was a loud disqualification. That's all it is. So, I'm optimistic, but I'm very cautious. I'm really cautious about everything. I'm cautious about the map design. I'm cautious about the gameplay. I'm cautious about all of it, how the game is gonna look and everything. Well, I'm not worried about how the game is gonna look. I think so far they're nailing the aesthetic so far. So I'm glad. I was right about that. So I said a year ago they will nail the aesthetic. They're nailing the aesthetic so far. Gameplay, completely different story. So I don't know. We'll see. I'm with the community. Like, I'm usually go against the community's reactions about everything. Usually because I don't think the Battlefield community sometimes, like, they don't smell their morning coffee quite often to see the full picture when it comes to Battlefield franchise. They want, like, we want a Battlefield 3 remaster, we want a Battlefield 4 remaster, because and I'll play this forever. I'm like, my dude, you're not the target audience anymore, and your money, you only want to spend the money once and then never think about it again and play the same game for 10 years, and you still play Battlefield 4. Like listen, I love me some Battlefield 4. But I have 2,500 hours in that game. As minimum. Bare minimum. 2,500 minimum in Battlefield 4. I had my fair share of Battlefield 4 in my life. I don't want to play a remaster of Battlefield 4. I'm sorry, I just don't. Same thing with Battlefield 3. Same thing. I played. Give me new maps. Sure. I'm gonna be bored the next freaking week. So I'm usually against everything the Battlefield community says because I don't think they see the full picture. But this time around, when it comes to this new game and just the whole analysis, how people feel about this, I have to agree with the Battlefield community this time around. I have to agree with the community because I've seen it everywhere and everyone feel the same. Like I said, from average Joe to big content creators. I talked to big content creators and I talked to some average Joes that are not content creators, and I got all the feedback I wanted. They feel the same way as I do. Yeah, it looks promising, but there's still loads of question marks and loads of worries that we just don't know about. We're still very cautious about everything. Yeah, even the first Jack Frags video about this announcement was basically, yeah, looks cool, but we're still not satisfied. We're still very cautious. We're still very jaded about all of this. And if that doesn't tell you how this community, how Battlefield franchise is suffering right now from bad releases non-stop, but Battlefield 1 was kind of the start of just making like things worse, even though it was a good game, but it made certain things worse. Then Battlefield 5 made things worse, and then Battlefield 2022 was just like just shoot me in the head at this point, you know. So it's just that's what it is. Like when you release stinker after stinker and you produce stinker after stinker, even if just with updates or whatever the case may be, like just delivering news. Like as soon as Battlefield 5 got good, you drop the support for the game to focus on Battlefield 2042, and then they get 2042. Like, what was the point, right? We're all jaded. The Battlefield community is a very jaded community for obvious reasons. Look at Call of Duty. Call of Duty community is very jaded right now because Warzone's getting shit updates because of the integrations. It's like they haven't learned yet, like shit after shit, you know? So, same thing with Battlefield community. I'm usually against Battlefield community's opinions about everything, but I have to agree with them. I have to agree with the Battlefield community. Cautiously optimistic. Looks good and everything. But lots of question marks, and you're not gonna get my pre-order just because you show me a shiny trailer of the new game. That's not gonna work anymore. You have to showcase with actions that you actually mean what you're saying, you know. So yeah, that's my opinion about this whole Battlefield Labs thing. But other than that, so I'm excited about the Battlefield Labs. I'm excited about the idea of CT coming back in somewhat updated form. Also more marketable, I guess. And people clearly are interested in the new Battlefield game. So far, positive stuff being said. Starting back in September with Vin Zappello on IGN. You know, talking about the new game. It's like, yeah, we saying the right things, you know, like the PR stuff. He's really good at PR. I did say that many months ago. He's really good at PR, and he said the right things. Now Battlefield Labs blog comes out with the video and everything. They say the right things. They show the right things and everything. It's like, it's fine. So far, all positives. The only thing is that we're jaded and we are really cautiously optimistic because we roared that you're gonna fuck up somewhere. That's the problem. You know, that's the problem, that they're gonna fuck up somewhere. We just worry. We can't just like put our stock in it like this way. Is it gonna be great? We don't know that. So I'm in the same opinion as everyone else. But yeah, so other than that, yeah, I got nothing else to say. I'm glad they're listening, at least so far. And I love the aesthetic of the game, and everything's good.